Hi, and thanks for looking at my 2007 Kawasaki KX450F, finished about October 10th, 2025. The bike had a transmission problem. It was locking up, so we had to split the cases and take it apart, see what was going on. So after we got the cases apart, pulled the transmission out, the problem was obvious. The gear over here should be on that smooth part, not jammed onto the splines the way it is. So we replaced the transmission and we put the engine back together. Then we measured the clutch, all of the fiber and steel plates. There are the measurements. You can pause these screens if you'd like to look at the measurements more closely. Spring-free length. And then the final measurements of the piston and the cylinder and the ring gap clearance. The crank was in amazingly good shape. This bike had to have been rebuilt not too long ago. We put a new OEM timing chain in. Always use OEM because it's just not worth using the cheap one. So this is an old timing chain. It's all binding and kinked up. This is what a new timing chain should feel like. It should just drape smoothly over your finger and hang on its own weight. So we popped that bad boy in the engine and then we buttoned her up. Then we put the brake pads in the caliper and put that back on the bike. Then we cleaned the shock and greased up the linkage and pulled the chain adjuster bolts out of the swing arm. Played with the dog. And then we put some throttle cables on from Motion Pro. And clutch and brake levers. Front wheel bearings. Front brake pads. An hour meter. And we took the shocks or the forks off, cleaned them up, checked them out really good. Did a little once over on the triple clamps, greased up the steering head bearings and put it all back together. Engine back in, and then started getting the whole thing buttoned up. New chain sprocket and a very good used chain guide. We also replaced the header pipe with a new FMF power bomb. And there's the bike. Okay, and this is where disaster strikes. So this is the first startup of the boner. And, at first I figured it would take a few kicks to get it going. But once I cranked it full of some accelerator pump juice, after about 2 kicks, it fired right out. So I was very happy. I was like, okay, we got a bike. So what happens next is I push in the choke and then the bike stalls. So then I'm like, okay, let me restart it again. And I'm pushing and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. About 100 times before I finally am like, oh man, I'm falling off the stand here. It's, you can see me lean way to the left. I'm leaning on the house and I figure I'll just give it a few more kicks. And if not, I'll take the carburetor off. So right there, that was promising. And then boom, that was the disaster. Bam, it hit the Kickstarter gear. And when that happened, it shoved my foot up into the handlebars. But it turns out that washer was missing, and I didn't notice it. So that left enough play in the Kickstarter gear to cause that problem. When that problem occurred, it actually cracked the right side case, and it cracked the clutch inner cover. So I didn't really want to put any more money into the bike at this point, to sell it as a gas engine. So I decided to just strip the engine out of it, and now we're going to e-bike this baby. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.